Vintage. I'm gonna walk you around our factory today. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. Today I'm gonna give you a behind the scenes look and tell you a story about how I basically went from an absolute obsessed car lover turned entrepreneur to building my dream car and now building your dream car. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you guys some behind the scenes here, and appreciate you guys tuning in. So let's see if I can flip this around here. All right, so we are in Atlanta, Georgia. It's Sunday, so nobody's here other than our sales and marketing team working hard behind the scenes. And I want to tell you a story about how I basically started my journey as a kid, and I always loved cars. And my parents were immigrants from another country, and they thought that cars were simply a point of transportation, A to B. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're gonna agree to disagree on that. I loved cars, and the kind of cars I liked were really nice cars. And this is the 80s. I was born in the 80s. And basically, I knew that these cars I liked were expensive. So I had the picture of the Countach Lamborghini and the Ferrari Testarossa and the Porsche 911 on my wall. And I knew that the only way I was going to get those cars was if I figured out how to make money. And so if you're not a car person and you're following because you're just simply interested in entrepreneurship and how companies get built, I can tell you this is a great case study in Exhibit A on how to basically start from the bottom, because I had nothing. And it was all built out of passion. I just love cars so much, nothing was going to stop me. So early on, I got a sales job, learned how to sell, got really good at that, and started making money. And I couldn't unsee it. I knew that sales was going to be the foundation of success. And great thing about sales is that if you can sell, you can pretty much dictate your own paycheck, which was really important because I wanted to buy expensive cars. So I ended up getting really good at sales and started my career as a sales manager, made a lot of money, and started the car journey. And since I was 21 years old, I've had over 50 cars. And those cars, hey Winnie, this is my dog, if you know Winnie, the world's best golden retriever. Age 21, started buying cars, and my very first cool car ever was a Porsche Boxster. I was living in LA, and life was good. I was young, I was working my butt off and making money and just enjoying life, and started buying cars. And since then, I've had every kind of car you can think about. So Ferrari, I've had a F355, California, I've had Ferrari FF, gosh, I have to make a list here, Lamborghini, Gallardo, Superleggera, Urus, a whole bunch of them. And Bentley, McLaren, Aston Martin, pretty much everything, G-Wagons, Range Rovers. And I really was living my dream, and I had bought so many cars. And in that time, I went from doing sales to my own company. And when I started my own company, I had never started a company before. And so I learned, and I started off in digital sales and marketing, built a marketing company, and in that 8 years of that company, pretty much started from nothing and built top 100 app in the App Store, and then I sold it to a publicly traded company. So that was good. Retired in my early 30s, and the story is that my wife decided that she did not want to hang out with me breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. So she was like, go do something else. And all of this that you see here started because I bought a Bronco. And so what happened was, I can show it to you over here. This isn't the actual one, but it was one of the early ones. So I buy a Bronco because I'd run out of modern cars to buy. And I always loved the way old cars looked. And this is where I think a lot of you probably felt the way I did. I'm not a mechanic. I have no time, and I have no desire that even if I knew how to fix my car, I didn't want to fix my car. And so I buy this Bronco because it was my dream car since high school. And when I got it home, it looked really nice from 10 feet away. But everything about that Bronco was absolutely unbearable. And the truth is that I just loved the way it looked. but I really hated everything else about it. That's, you don't have to be a car aficionado or a collector or a luxury exotic car owner to know that modern cars, they just work today. And so I get my Bronco, and never mind how bad it was cosmetically, the steering was scary. Imagine you're driving a car, and in addition to just like having to deal with everybody else around you not paying attention, you now have to make sure that it stays on the road. Steering is loose, scary. Brakes barely worked, had to push really hard to get the car to stop. Literally every single time I got to a stop sign, I thought I was going to hit the guy in front of me. And then that's just steering and braking. The car almost never worked. It didn't start right away, and I broke down constantly. And I don't care who you are, breaking down is probably not something you think about every day when you get in your car. But every single time I got to my old Bronco, I knew there was a more than 50% chance it wouldn't start, and a more than 50% chance I'd be stuck on the side of the road. These are things that we don't have to worry about today because it's 2025. Engineering, design, technology has come a long way. And then on top of that, it leaked everywhere. I just built my new house, brand new tile floor in my garage. And my wife would come out and be like, why is there oil everywhere? And every single time I started that car, my entire house smelled like gas. So these are the honest, like transparent, shortfalls of an old car. But I loved it. It was my dream car. But the reality was there was a big gap. And the straw that broke the camel's back was that my wife, I took her out on date night. And she's sitting in the passenger side. We get there, and her hair smells like gas. Her clothes smell like gas. And she's like, I'm good. I don't want to do this anymore. And my kids at the time, they're young, and they loved the car, but they didn't understand how, what a pain in the ass it was. And so it's funny because all I wanted to do was fix my car. That was it. I wasn't trying to start a company. It wasn't like I'm going to go start this car company. I was a tech entrepreneur, and I knew technology, and I had bought and sold cars, so I was really, really good at buying and selling cars. And my real trade was that I was a digital marketer and a sales guy. And so I basically merged my passion with cars. And so I took that old Bronco and fixed it up. And then I decided that other people wanted the same thing. I sell my Bronco, other people want it to be fixed up, and I start dabbling in restoration. Not a serious thing, just a hobby, okay? By the way, this is like 2017. And then what happened was, it was very clear that people wanted the car. And so I did 1, I did 2, I did 3, I did 5, I did 10, and I just kept going and kept going. And then something happened. Jennifer Lopez called. And when J-Lo calls, you got to deliver. And she wanted one for Alex Rodriguez for his surprise birthday. And I'll explain how all of this comes together, but you can't make this stuff up. Like, this is like actual true story. And during that same week that Jen wanted a Bronco for Alex Rodriguez for a surprise birthday, Usher also called that same week. And I kid you not, I'm like watching all this unravel. I'm like, man, these guys are like fighting over the car. And so Usher comes to my house. I show him the Bronco. He really wants it, but his manager, sorry, Jen, it's just the truth, says, we're going to think about it. And I said, listen, I need to know, because I'm going to bring that Bronco down to Miami, and I'm going to show it to Jennifer Lopez, and I'm pretty sure she's going to buy it. And they're like, we'll get back to you. Anyway, don't hear from them. Go down to Miami, and I bring a Bronco down there. And brought it to their house and dropped it off. And I thought that was it. But then the manager calls me and says, get down here now. Take the top off before Alex gets here. Jen wants to come down. So I come back to the house, take the top off. She surprises Alex. I'm in the bushes. He loves the car. And I tell them that it's for Usher. And they're like, well, no, we want it. So we end up letting Jen buy the Bronco. I fly back to Atlanta. I land at 7 o'clock in the morning. And the very first text I get is from Usher's manager. Usher will take the Bronco. I'll think about that for a minute. This is a hobby thing. I'm a tech entrepreneur. I'm a car, obsessed person. And I've got people fighting over this. And I go, wow, I think people really want this. And what they wanted was what I wanted. They didn't actually want an old car. They wanted a car that looked old, but was more modern. And that's what this is. This right here is a restomod. Modern restoration. This right here is a old 1969 Bronco. So we go from restoration and we ask one question: how do we make it better? I'm not interested in building something. and have it break down, or have someone give me money and not be happy. I didn't get into this to make money. And so it was very clear what they wanted was a modern restoration, restomod. And so about 4 years ago, we moved into this building. And this building was an empty warehouse with nothing. And what I decided was I'm going to leave technology and I'm going to go all in on building cars. But I'd never built cars before. But before I built mobile apps, I'd never built mobile apps before. Before I built a company, I'd never built a company before. So basically I learned. And I brought in people. And so this whole entire warehouse that you're looking at here, 4 years ago, was completely empty. We had like 12 employees, and we had no process because we had just come out of restoration. And we had hardly any people. We had no supply chain. And by the way, this is 2021, right around the pandemic too. Pretty much everything that could have gone wrong, went wrong, right? And so we come in this place and we try to hire people and we try to build process and we try to line up supply chain. And the hardest thing to do is to start a company. I've done it several times, and interested in entrepreneurship, I can tell you that if you start with passion and you really love what you do, that is the first step, because if you don't love it, you're probably going to give up. And the reason why is because it's going to be really hard. And when it's really, really hard, the first thing people do is they're like, they question whether or not they want to keep going. But when you love it, you're like, nothing's going to fucking stop me. And so that's how much I loved it. And I also knew that there was something here, right? It's very, very rare to have demand exceed supply. Think back, Usher, J-Lo fighting over one car. That doesn't happen very often. And so we stand up the facility and go through this very, very difficult and challenging, painful process of trying to build a quality vehicle on time, people, process, and parts. In the beginning, transparently, none of it's right. And so it's all about how quickly you can solve the problem. How quick can you close the gap on people, process, and parts? And so we built cars here, and we built production, and we built restomods, and they just kept getting better and better and better. And while we did that, something crazy happened. You're probably watching this on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, some form of social media. Social media is the reason why we exist. Social media blew up and went viral. And the kind of people that were attracted to what we're doing would blow your mind. And in the beginning, I started our Instagram with 0 followers. Think about that for a minute. Before I did Instagram, I had never done Instagram before, ever. My daughter, who at the time I think was probably, 10 years old, she taught me how to use it. And she taught me how to use stickers and, whatever hashtags and all that stuff. And what I did know was I love the car. And so I took the pictures and the video myself initially. And doing that over and over, 7 days a week, every single day, year after year after year, built a following. Not just followers, but fans. If you're watching this, I just want to tell you that I'll never forget that, because the first follower was me, and the second follower was my wife. Third follower was probably my mom. Made my kids follow. But then what happened after that was I was simply just putting pictures and video of a car I just loved so much. It was easy for me. And because of the feedback that we got from our fans, it was really, really clear that we should keep doing this. And so every single day, without fail, 7 days a week, and I've literally not stopped in the last 7 years. And it's because not only was I able to share my passion with you guys, it built the brand. And I never thought that would be the case. I mean, it's mind-blowing. I've never talked about it before, but here you have it. And so then we pick up big clients. LeBron James, Mark Wahlberg, huge list, billionaires, athletes, celebrities. I've met tons of people, and non-celebrities and athletes. And I can tell you the amazing thing about doing something that you really, really love and putting it out there for the world to see is that other people who love it too, they come to you. And the number of people I've met, not just the celebrities and athletes, but all the clients and all the people, they all had a story. And it was very similar to mine. They were executives, entrepreneurs, they always had a dream, they worked really hard, they started with nothing. And keep in mind, it's a $250,000 car. We don't take that lightly at all. And so it was this really cool like network thing that was happening, right? And the more we posted, the more we built, and the bigger we got, the more orders we got. And so I'm going to flip this around and give you a quick lesson. Something you have to know about me is that I am maniacal about making things better. It's just how I am. And so when I bought my first car and it was such a headache, I had to make it better. So I made it better. In doing so, I fell into restoration. In doing restoration, I'll tell you about my first transaction. $65,000, and sold it to a nice couple in LA. And if you're watching this, reach back out to me because I feel like I still owe you. And that's the other thing too, is I take obligation pretty seriously. I remember I didn't do this to make money. I already made a lot of money. And so I deliver the car, we ship it out to California, and then I get a phone call right away. Like I'm talking like the first hour. And I'm like, fuck. And car doesn't work. Well, damn it. That's not good. And so you do that 1, 2, 5, 10 times and you start to notice pattern. Hey, as nice as you make this old car, it will never be as reliable as your customers want it to be. And when you're in the $65,000, $75,000 price point, it's still a lot of money, right? And so I didn't feel good about that. And I thought, wow, well, let's try to make it better. Let's try to make it better. When I quickly realized was there's limitations. And when I realized that, we moved to this. This is a restomod, a modern restoration. And we came late to the game. There are other restomod companies already doing that. But I knew that if this is a newer, more modern, new drivetrain, that it's going to be better than restoration. So we moved in here and just maniacally worked. And I've probably worked easily 90 to 100 hours a week since the day we moved in this place. It's been 4 years. And hey, Winnie. And what was really amazing about that time is that the brand's blowing up, expectations are going high, people want the product, they clearly understood what we're doing. Looks old, but more modern than that. And so the feedback that we got on this restoration, modern restoration, was that our fit and finish, our quality was really good, which I love. I'll even show it to you. This is what made us famous on the internet. Vintage Broncos back in the day, contraband now. We'll talk about that later too. All right, so this right here is a really, really well done restomod. And it's because I had had so many cars. Think about the context. I already had Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens, Aston Martins, AMG. I knew what a customer spending $250,000 plus expected. And I'm the kind of person where if you're not happy, then I'm not happy. And so we built these. And then the feedback that we got here was that it was better than an old restoration. However, it lacked certain things that at the $250,000 price point, customers expected. And I knew it because I was a customer and I felt the same way. And I've delivered some pretty big name clients, like super VIP. And one of them told me that they loved me and the company and the brand and the quality and the fit and finish and the service. However, they just didn't like the way it drove. And they were very honest about it, which I'm really glad, because I can tell you something that I do really well. We take feedback well here. Good, bad, ugly, but especially ugly. Good and bad, we get it. Ugly is what we're interested in because it allows us to figure out if the customer loves the product or not. And they didn't love the way it drove. And the reason why they didn't like the way it drove was because compared to a G-Wagon or Range Rover, the wheelbase on the car was really short, 92 inches. You can go Google it. 92-inch wheelbase cars don't exist anymore for a reason. And very narrow track width, okay? And keep in mind, I'm not an engineer by trade, and I hadn't built cars before, but I knew enough to know that when a customer who spends $250,000 plus, we built cars are $350,000, doesn't completely love the product, you need to ask them why. And then you need to figure out, can you make it better? And so I pushed and pushed for a better driving restomod. And I'll tell you about that. And the other thing they said was, my wife wants to drive it. Or I have kids and they're young and I want to put them in the back. Or my kids want to drive the car. But a lack of safety features keeps that from happening with high confidence. So old cars, 1960s technology, design, engineering, zero safety features. And that always made me nervous because when I delivered some of these super high profile ones. I've been to LeBron James' house in Akron. Like, I delivered that car with my son in the driveway, and I said to LeBron, remember, this looks like a brand new car, and you're gonna forget. I don't want you to forget. At the end of the day, it doesn't have the safety features of your modern car. Be careful when you drive it. It doesn't have anti-lock brakes. It doesn't have traction control. And if something were to happen, it doesn't have the modern safety features underneath. And every single delivery that we did, we would remind the customers and put in the disclaimer and all that stuff. But deep down, something kept me up at night. Good news is people really want the car. And trying to flip this around. And we were building a really, really great brand that people trusted and knew. And so I said to myself, wow, I think this is going to be really big. But I know that there was a limitation in the product, which is hard to do when things are going really well. I mean, we're going viral, right? And a cool story here is that when we built the very first pink restomod, it went massively viral. And now instead of men calling up saying, I want one of your cars, they're calling up saying, my wife wants one. And when they say that, good news is now women want the car. But women with kids want the car. Now you really start thinking about things like safety features again, right? I think about my wife. If she's driving the car, there's no safety features. How do I feel about that? Well, if you just want to make a buck, then go make a buck, right? You can keep doing what you're doing. And the huge decision that we had to make was, if we keep building these, which are really nice and the best you can get at the time, you'll build a good company. You'll make a lot of money. However, deep down, your customers will have this kind of like slightly below perfect. They wish it had, was better, and you don't give it to them. If you want to build a great company, then you've got to give them everything they want. And what they wanted was not a restoration, not even a restomod. They wanted a modern vehicle. And then the way I knew it was because I did too. I'm not a collector. I'm not a mechanic. Even if I knew how to fix my car, I don't want to fix my car. I have like so many other things to do. Fixing my car in the garage was the last thing I wanted to do. And so it was very, very clear to me that what they wanted was actually a modern car that looked vintage, that drove like their normal modern vehicles. And I know what our customers are driving because I was driving the same cars. They're comparing it to their G63 AMG G-Wagon. They're comparing it to their Range Rover. They're comparing it to their Lamborghini Urus, their Bentley Bentayga, their Rolls-Royce Cullinan. And I actually delivered a car to a client who's now my friend. It was a Restomod. We go to Bel Air. She's got a Rolls-Royce Cullinan to him and a couple of Range Rovers in the driveway. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, she's not going to like the way this drives. And it's not because we did anything wrong. It's just a limitation of the geometry. Short wheelbase, narrow track with none of the modern stuff. And so she gave the car back. That's the truth. I can tell you that that is a very common story, not just with our company, but if other companies are being fully transparent and honest, that is a very normal thing. And the reason why is because you have people who are used to this up here, and they get this, and they're unhappy. Not because of any other reason than you can only make an old car so modern. And so instead of trying to force a square peg in a round hole, instead of trying to make an old car more modern, we said, let's make a modern car look vintage. No one had ever done that before. So I'll take you over here and show you. All this completely true story. So I recruit Bob Nardelli to our board. He's a former CEO of Chrysler. And when he first heard about what it was we were doing, he was like immediately like, wow, I need to go see that. And, completely different scale, obviously. Chrysler, huge, massive, mature, old, big company. But he understood that we were doing something special here. And I came to Bob and I said, Bob, I don't think what our customers want is an old car. What they want is everything they have in their modern car, but they want it to look vintage. And I think instead of trying to force a play and make it better, we need to start with a modern car chassis. And the reason why the modern car chassis is such a huge improvement, it is a 10x improvement. That's not an exaggeration. It's an order of magnitude better. I know, because I've driven lots and lots of $250,000 cars. And the only way you can make this into what it is they want is you have to have this. So think about it. A restoration starts with a 50, 60-year-old thing that is very old and outdated, and now you're going to do as much as you can to make it more modern. We tried it, and believe me, we were extremely relentless and very, very good at figuring things out. And there was limitation. Limitation number one, that wheelbase on that older restomod restoration, it will never be longer than 92 inches. That is it. Too short. And that track width will never be wider than it was. So then we take a modern car chassis, which has a 100.4 inch wheelbase, longer, and a wider track width. If we just stopped there, it was already going to drive way better. But then you add independent front suspension, which everybody has unless you're a hardcore off-roader. And now you have a vehicle that's going to drive like your modern car. Let's check that box. However, even if you could achieve that on an aftermarket build, a restomod, you're still not going to have this. And this is the number one thing. And this is what kept me up at night all those years. No safety features in a restoration or restomod. This has 2025 technology, engineering, and safety features. Crumple zones. You want that. Trust me. Crumple zones protect the passengers inside, and they're designed to purposely absorb the energy hitting you from the front, the side, the rear, to ensure that the passengers inside are safe. And I've seen these things on TikTok. Let me just tell you, if you think that those crash tests on TikTok are real, they are not real. That's just like an animation. And when they say things like they don't build them like they used to, that is also false. They build them significantly better than they ever have from a safety technology perspective. When they say that, what they actually mean is they don't make them as good at looking as they used to, which is true. I'll get to that in a minute. So we have this modern chassis, 100.4 inch wheelbase, crumple zones engineered into the chassis, side impact beams in the doors. This way, if you get hit from the side, you actually have protection. Functional roll bar, not decorative, actually tied to the chassis. You want that, not to the body, to the chassis. But the number one thing that you need if you're going to drive a car around, and I don't mean like putting around like in your neighborhood at 25 miles per hour. That's what I used to do with my old Land Cruiser, old Defender, old Broncos, because I didn't feel good about taking it on the road, forget about taking it on the freeway. And the number one thing that matters is going to be the airbags. 6 airbags. And I have to credit my wife for this, because one of the first questions she asked when I got that old Bronco home was, does it have airbags? And I said, no. And she kind of crossed her arms and gave me the look, which look I'm talking about. And I was like, well, I guess we'll just kind of go slow and not go far, and, it'll be okay. Fingers crossed. Kids are only 8 and 10 at the time. You want airbags. They save lives. I didn't invent airbags. I wish I did. But these are 6 airbags, 1 in the steering wheel, 1 in the front passenger side. Every car you drive has that, right? Today, you have that. And you have side impact airbags in the seats. I'll show you what that looks like too. And then you have these curtain airbags that give you protection all the way from the A-pillar all the way back. So if you have kids, grandkids, rear passengers, you're going to want rear airbags. You're going to want a functional roll bar. You're going to want crumple zones, and then electronic things like traction control, anti-lock brakes, all things that you don't think about. And why should you think about it? Today, your car is designed to protect you. That way, if something happens, you don't have to worry about it, right? And so now you have all of these modern safety features that you cannot get and you cannot retrofit. One of the first things I asked as we're building restoration restomod, because this is just how I am, I'll ask the big questions. Why can't we have safety features in an old car? And everyone said, well, you can't do it. And so I double checked it just to make sure they weren't wrong, and they were right. You're not going to be able to do that. But what you can do is you can take this foundation, which your entire investment and life rides on. And then engineer a classic looking vehicle around it, because that right there is what the customers wanted. Now I'm going to show you behind the scenes on how we did that, because this in itself is pretty crazy. So we're going to go back here. And around this time, we were building our restomods, and it's going really well. Really high quality builds. We're getting really, really consistent. We fought through COVID. We fought through supply chain. We fought through people, process, parts, and we're getting really, really good. And deep down though, I knew that the market wanted something better. And so we were very, very strategic about how we went about it. We wanted to do it right. And so what we did was, we didn't want to use body panels. Old body panels have rust. And by the way, they wouldn't fit the new modern chassis anyway. And if you did, you'd have a narrow truck with short wheelbase again. So we built a wider truck with a longer wheelbase. And what we did is something that no one had ever done before. These right here are brand new American-made steel. It would have been cheaper to use Taiwan, China, whatever. Not interested. American-made steel, stamped in Detroit. And we engineered and designed our own classic-inspired body panels for a few reasons. One, nothing on the market would fit, so we had to. Two, we chose steel because we knew that part of the goal was to keep that kind of classic feel, right? But not the classic problem. So if you stamp brand new steel panels, I love that sound. There's no rust, and all your lines, all your gaps can be perfect. And because I've had really, really nice cars, and I feel a big obligation when someone's going to stroke us a check for $250,000, $300,000, $350,000, I want to give them quality. And I didn't want it to just be like as good as their Bentley. I actually wanted it to be better. And so not only is the quality significantly better, you have this very heavy, stout quality and classic feel. When you shut the doors, it sounds just like your G-Wagon, and I've had 5 or 6 G-Wagons, so I know exactly what that sound is. I always love that sound. And because we own the molds, the tools to stamp the body parts, which I'm telling you, no one's done this before, because the cost for that was really expensive. It was because we knew that to really give our customers what they wanted, that's what we had to do, A. And B, we didn't want to do anything halfway. And C, it allowed us to control our own supply chain. I don't want to buy parts from China and Taiwan and be at their mercy, and quality issues and all that stuff. So we stamped our own. And what that means too is, in the future, if our customers ever needed replacement panels, we make them. They're ours. Big investment, big bet. But again, listening to your customers gives you an advantage, because they're telling you what it is they want. And it seems so simple, but that's really what we did. And because I'm the customer and my wife's customer, I knew what they wanted. And so now we're on the journey of building a fully modernized classic. And at that point in time, we had better people, better process, better parts. This is what it looks like, by the way, when we mount the steel classic-inspired body onto the modern car chassis. And then what we did was we were maniacal about quality, obsessive about quality. And going back to the beginning, and this is a true story, first transaction, sell the car, ship the car, phone call, my car doesn't work. I hate that. I'd just rather not do it. Honestly, I would just quit. If you told me that was gonna be my life, I'm good, And so instead, I wanted to reverse engineer perfection. And I knew that this time around, it had to be perfect. Everything had to exceed customer expectations. So all of these lines and gaps and body lines, like, we have an entire library of data around how we do what we do, which was a big difference compared to restoration. And again, I can tell you all these things and be transparent about it because, one, I'm a transparent person, but two, it's just the truth, right? Like, in restoration, you do things by memory and feel. I know, we did it too. And I can tell you most shops do it that way. And the reason why I know that, no matter what they tell you, is because the elite of the elite automotive expert consultants that we brought in, when they tour our facility, they're very surprised and impressed by how we build the cars. Keep in mind, never built cars before. All I knew was it had to be perfect. And so it was actually very much a logical thing, right? If you want it to be perfect, then you not only need to have skilled people, but you have to have specifications, right? And it seems simple, but if you tell your artist, make it straight and flush, then he'll do it. But does that mean 2 mils, 3, 2.5, 1.25, like what, right? So when you blend science and process and data with art, you get an incredible outcome. And because I wasn't interested in building mediocre cars, the world doesn't need a mediocre car company, especially not at this price point. We were maniacal about it. And I have to say that a very, very large part of why we were able to do this is because we had a great team. I was good enough to be dangerous in these things, and I knew what the customer wanted. But when I brought in people who said, "Ooh, I love that mission, and I think the same way, and I can make that happen," we learned together, we grew together, and we made this happen. There's no way I could have done this. And we have over 130 employees today, moved in this building with 12. And I don't even call them employees because we don't hire normal people to work here. It's not a normal company, and we don't want people to call it a job unless you're Winnie and you're the mascot. Because this is a labor of love, and this is all about passion. And because I never did it to make money, all I cared about was it being perfect. And I knew deep down that if we made it perfect and we built the product that people wanted and we could get production to meet the demand, that the money would come. But those are not things I honestly worry about. Again, because I didn't start the company to make money. I know that that reward will be there. And in doing so, we launched in 2024 truly the first fully modernized classic. And people out there will say their car is modern, but if it doesn't have airbags, if it doesn't have traction control, if it doesn't have side impact beams and crumple zones, and it doesn't have everything that your Range Rover 2025 G-Wagon has, it's not fully modernized. And so let me take it a step further just to give you an idea of how maniacal we are. You don't just stick steel body panels on a new chassis and go through 900 hours of surgery and labor without testing. Which leads me to this right here. And this is a big deal. This is another world's first. I can assure you that if you look at other restomods, modern restorations, and definitely restorations, you'll never see this. This right here is an FMVSS compliant sticker that states we went through the process to ensure that it meets the federal motor vehicle safety standards. Big deal. Well, how the heck do you do that? Well, you hire experts, you pay a lot of money, and you go through testing. And so I'll give you an example here. I mentioned the 6 airbags. I'm going to show them to you. I'm going to tell you what we did to ensure that was right. Airbag number 1, the most important one. You're driving a car and you don't have a driver steering wheel mounted airbag. You better be going 25 miles per hour, very slowly on a nice day, and then that's it. But I can tell you something that I also learned about our customers because I was the customer. I don't want to spend $300,000 and not be able to drive the car. That would just make me mad, honestly. And keep in mind, all of this stems from me growing up from a humble beginning, right? Like I didn't have money. So when I buy a car, I'm driving that thing, man. I don't care. And I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if, if I put miles on it. I never worried about putting miles on my car. I just drove it because I'm not a collector. I'm a driver. And so if you don't have airbags, trust me, you're going to think twice about where you're going to go, who you're going to go with, how far you're willing to go, how fast you're willing to go. And then you have to think about things like, and if I don't make it, is that okay? Like, let's say you're going to go to the airport and you have a flight to hit. You're definitely not going to take your old classic because it's just not a good choice, right? You may not make it, and or a board meeting and you got to be there on time, right? Things like that. And I hated that because then when can you really drive the car? You always have to be there on time and you got to make it. Here's airbag number 2. Side impact, seat mounted. And I'll give you a little lesson here. This stitch right here is a special stitch. You have to have certification to do this. You can't just like go get some leather and sew it together and keep your fingers crossed and hope it works. That is a certification and a special stitch that if this airbag were to blow, because we modified everything on this car, that it's going to blow. Tested, passed, check. Okay, so now not only do you have a seat mounted side impact airbag, we know it's going to work. We tested it. That's airbag number 2. Let's walk around. It's boxwood green, by the way. Beautiful color. Built one for Shay from Dan and Shay, my good buddy out in Nashville, country music singer, multi-Grammy award winning artist, Dan and Shay. And I went to his house with my kids, and my kids got to hold their Grammys. Pretty cool experience. My kids have been very fortunate to being able to do all that. But anyway, Shay, if you're watching this, appreciate you, man. Also, it referred us a lot of great business, and we have a lot of good friends, and that's what happens when you take care of people, right? So airbag number 2, you're going to want this. Seat mounted, side impact, passenger side. And again, special certification to ensure it blows, and tested. Airbag number 3. Airbag number 4 is going to be your front passenger dual stage airbag. And again, I hate to have to talk about these things, but I think it's important, right? Let's just put it all out there. You get in an accident, which you cannot choose when you get in an accident, and you get hit from behind, this thing's going to pop open. You're going to want this, because if not, you're going to hit all this, right? And so this right here, there's a door right here. Heavily modified by us, right? There's a door right here, and that airbag pops out. And so not only do we need to ensure that it still works properly, we blew that airbag, and we blew it twice, got it fully certified. That thing's coming out. Again, things that most companies, they're just not going to think about doing that, right? They're probably worried about what it's going to cost, and do we have to do that? By the way, we didn't have to do any of this. We did it because we wanted to, because we wanted to build a great company, and I didn't care what it cost. So we did it, and it was expensive. But if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. This right here, you're just not going to find this in a classic car or a restomod. You want your 6 airbags. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I'm gonna take my shoes off here because this is not my car, and I don't treat any of these like it's my car because it's a customer car. And by the way, if this is yours and you're watching, I cannot wait for you to get it, because we haven't even gotten to what it's like to drive one of these. Like, I'm not talking about physically, it's just how it makes you feel, which is really why I loved cars to begin with. So airbag number 5 is going to be your side curtain airbag that runs all the way down to the end. And this is where my wife gets a lot of credit, because my kids were young when I had my first Bronco, and she was always worried. Sound familiar? You got a wife who's going to worry about the kids. That's her job, right? And luckily she did, because she pressed and pressed on safety. And when we built that pink one, we went viral globally, and the number of leads that came in as a percentage from women skyrocketed. And women, and good husbands, if you're a good husband, pay attention here, they really cared about safety features. And so not only do you want your side curtain airbags that run all the way down here, you're going to want things like a latch system, LATCH. Google that, you know what that is. If you have kids, you have a booster seat, you have a car seat, you're going to want to tether that thing in there, right here and right here. And this right here is tied to the chassis, right? So all of this right here passes FMVSS and NHTSA standards. And you have the peace of mind of a functional roll bar. You have the peace of mind of your 6 airbags, including the ones back here. You have the peace of mind of all of your underpinnings here have your crumple zones. And then you have the peace of mind that we didn't just slap it together. We went through great lengths to, sorry here, put my shoes on. Let me flip this around here. we went through great lengths to do it right. And to do it right, not only do you hire consultants to do your FMVSS certification, you crash test the car. Think about that for a minute. We didn't have to do that. It was really expensive. But do we want to build a good company? Or do we want to build a great company? And so we took our vehicle to the same, never wants to flip around on me here, to the same crash test company that Ford uses. Make a note there. Just to ensure that after all of the modifications we made, 900 labor hours, brand new steel panels, all of this leather work, it's a lot of leather work. This leather work costs more than cars, it's a lot. That it all worked in the event of a crash. So we crash tested the car. Full frontal, side impact, and rear. Low speed, high speed. And we passed all of them. Big deal. Not only do companies not do that, and the reason why they wouldn't do it is because it wouldn't pass. Think about it. If you don't have crumple zones, you don't have all the modern safety features, airbags, you put some dummies inside of your restoration or restomod, not going to pass. And I'm very sure that none of our other restomod restoration companies would ever challenge that, because they know, and I knew. And that's what drove me to do this. You get clients that spend a lot of money and they are not car experts and they have families and they have expectations. You can choose to tell them, well, it is what it is. I want it to be better. I want it to be better for our customers. I want it to be better for the car industry. And so why not? And we went all the way. And I think it took an outsider, non-automotive. I wasn't jaded. There's no limiting beliefs. I came in from technology. Technology was always about innovation. It was always about how do we make it better? And therefore, we made it better. And I tell you these things not to brag, it's just the truth. If I'm going to brag about anything, it's going to be about the team, because we have an exceptional team. Really, really great people who are also equally driven by passion. They're extremely good at what they do. And they believe in the mission. It is to build the world's finest, fully modernized, classic-inspired vehicle with no compromises. It will drive like your modern car because it's a 2025. It will have all of the safety features, even though you can't see them underneath it all. And it has all of your modern technology, like your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. I know you need it. I need it too. I get lost without it. And your touch screen 12-inch infotainment, your dual zone climate control, and USB A and C. Let me tell you something, really hard to enjoy your car when you don't have AC, right? My first old Bronco, no AC, sweat my ass off. And this is like Georgia, right? So I'm living in Georgia, driving around my old Bronco, if it doesn't break down, with no AC. So what people say is, oh, well, you can put AC in. And of course we did. It's one of the first things we did. But you have aftermarket AC. Aftermarket AC is not as good as factory OEM AC. It just isn't. And by the way, so you know, this is just the truth. Aftermarket companies, they're good, but they're not as good as the companies that supply to the big manufacturers. Google this. It's called Tier 1 suppliers. And I learned this because when we were building restomods, we went to the aftermarket companies and said, hey, the quality needs to be better, or this doesn't fit, or this has a lot of like imperfections, or, you know, this doesn't work as well. And what they said was, tough luck, you know, go pound sand. And the reason why they said that was because they weren't held to the same standard that Tier 1 suppliers were held to. And if you're in manufacturing, by the way, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Tier 1 suppliers, that shit better be perfect or they're on the clock. Because when things don't go well for an OEM manufacturer where millions and billions of dollars at stake by the day, by the hour, by the week, that the tier 1 suppliers are fined. So that stuff has to be really, really good. And therefore, by having OEM AC, OEM parts, OEM technology, OEM touchscreen compared to aftermarket, it's night and day. Because I can tell you that the standard that those guys are held to by the big OEMs is very high. So you become the beneficiary of a much higher quality product because underneath all this are OEM parts. Big, big difference. All right, a little water break there. And, here's Champy. This is my puppy. That's the our team mascot number 2 here. Just got him. That's a handful, by the way. And so, tier 1 parts, like it's all people, process, and parts, right? I mean, it's really that simple. It's very complex and hard to do it right, but it is people, process, and parts. And if you get the best parts, and you get the best people, and you get the best process, none of that will be right at first. So if you're starting a company, or you have a company, and you feel like it's broken, or it's not working the way you thought, or it's harder than you thought, or you're frustrated, it's all fixable. It's not easy, but it's reverse engineering perfection. And so we took people, process, parts to a different level. And in the 4 years we've been in this building, we've easily done 8 hours of work because if for nothing else, we worked 2 times as much as everybody else. That's number 1. But when you have really great people who are really great problem solvers, you create leverage. And leverage allows you to move even faster and create better products. This, by the way, I just love because nobody needs pillows in their car, right? But if you love it so much, you might want to sleep in it. So we're going to make blankets too. And that pillow chop, which is really funny, my wife, Melissa, she taught me that. Not in the car, but at home. So we'd be, cleaning the house and I'd fluff the pillows incorrectly. And my wife would correct me like she does and be like, no, you got to do it like this. And so one day I'm doing the ASMR and I'm like, I'm going to chop the pillow. Silly things that, that you guys either love or hate, whatever. But we'll keep doing it. All right, so this is Worn Glove, by the way. We offer 12 different leather colors. And within the leather colors, we also offer different stitch patterns inside. So you can do diamond, pleated, woven leather, or if you're into the plaid type stuff, we do Schumacher plaid and special textiles too. I mean, you can go crazy with it. So, okay, looks like we're gonna play some fetch here. All right, I'm gonna get back over here and show you further. So now let's talk about, so we talked about FMVSS compliance. We talked about crash testing the car and the quality. Along the way, there were many, many things that we had to overcome. None of this was easy, by the way. Backup camera, gotta have that. Parking sensors, gotta have that. But how do you make it still look good? Because we were very, very big on keeping that classic inspired look. And what I love about this view is right here, there's a lot of modern technology happening and you can barely see it. Traction control and anti-lock brakes, wouldn't know it. Rear parking sensors and backup camera, wouldn't know it, right? Crumple zones underneath that sheet metal, you wouldn't know it. And you wouldn't have known that we crash tested the car and the rear and the side and the front, all of that, all been checked. And the beauty is all in the details too. I'm also a yacht guy, big boater. And so why not, right? You want to open this thing and smell that wood and see that. This right here, super satisfying part and engineered to hold 500 pounds. The day that we built that, we had our team of big guys sit on this thing and they were over 500 pounds. So you could sit on this thing, hang out and enjoy. And imagine what that's like. You can take it to the beach, put your toes in the sand, turn your music on, and Another design detail I love is the subwoofer. I love good music, and so good music is a very key part of the experience of this vehicle. So we went with best-in-class Focal Audio, French company, really, really nice. And JL for the subwoofer. And we went through multiple iterations to make the biggest, cleanest, best hitting subwoofer to make that fit. Engineered it ourselves, and then we wrapped it in this perforated leather. Little details that you just don't find. And again, this speaker is really nice, but it's the leather and the details around it all, reminiscent of a Hermes handbag. And I bought my wife lots of handbags over the years, and so I knew good leather work when I saw it, and I was like, you know what? The inside of this thing has to feel like wow. And all of the stitching and all those details, they've got to be perfect. I want our customers who have a Bentley, Lamborghini, Rolls-Royce, Ferrari, I want them to get in this thing and go, holy crap, they did this thing. And you can smell this from a mile away too. It smells really good. By the way, made this famous on the internet, which is really funny, thanks to you guys. This is a classic window crank. Powers the windows, and what I love about it is in one little motion, you know exactly what it is we do. Vintage design, modern luxury. And you will love the interior. It's definitely one of the best parts. Very little plastic inside. So all of this is either Alcantara or leather. A lot of different colors to choose from. Colors, definitely a big deal. Power steps for short people. Teamed up with Fox on the suspension. Best in class company. Close relationship with Fox. Forged aluminum wheels, 17-inch, super high quality, very light. Comes in a whole bunch of different colors. All these things we think of as jewelry. Why not, right? Could have been plastic, could have been cheap. We didn't care. So CNC'd on aluminum, then sent to Detroit to be chromed. Well, why did we send it to Detroit to be chromed? That's expensive. Believe me, if we had a really top tier chrome company nearby, we would have, but we don't optimize for convenience or price. We optimize for quality and perfection. So here you've got this beautiful door handle to remind you every single time you open this, handcrafted, CNC'd, and then polished. Comes in black, white, a bunch of different colors. Big engineering feat to put exposed classic hinges on a modern vehicle. Crash tested, passed. Old school antenna, functional. Even our emblems we made in billet aluminum. And when I was in Pebble Beach at Monterey Car Week, there was a Lamborghini Countach remake from Lamborghini. Love Lamborghini. $2 million car from Newport, a Lamborghini, and that front emblem was plastic. I was like, wow, $2 million and your emblem's plastic. So it's kind of like these little details and the stories behind it all and the people who obsess over every little detail. I can't tell you how many of these emblems we rejected because there was a tiny little speck on it. Won't pass. And what's cool is when you get the right people, they make sure all that happens, you know? And all these little details, all these little things, torque spec for every nut and bolt, multiple quality checks at every single station. And then a very rigorous test process as well. So let's go over there and take a look. Come on, Win, let's go. Win, this way. Right here, incoming inspection. Every single part we make or purchase goes through a binary process. We either approve it or we reject it. If it's not good, it's not going to make it on the car. These guys do a great job. Okay, then it hits the assembly line. This is Brittany Blue, one of the most popular colors. Screens are off, but normally standard operating procedures for every single step in the entire process. quality checked before we move it forward. This one right here, I can tell is going to be a really, really nice build. Black, raven black, with a cognac interior. This is going to look really nice. The last cognac interior we did was for the founder of Red Bull. He flew it to Germany, the car. So again, people who know quality, people who have high expectations, and you got to deliver on it. So this is Raven Black. I cannot wait for this one to be done. It's going to look really, really nice. Also built a Raven Black one for Kevin Hart, 101 edition. He has our new version. And built one for Marshmello, the DJ, as well. So and for Black Bear as well. So if you see him around LA, you'll know those are ours. And there's a reason why the wealthiest and some of the most famous people in the world, they trust us. Everything I'm telling you is exactly what we do and how we do it. And when you have this kind of money and you've earned it and it was hard and you work your butt off, the last thing you want to do is to blow it. And in the car business, there's varying levels of car quality. And it's how we do what we do, the way we do it, with who we do it, that makes all the difference in the world. And this one right here is Sherwood Green. Just went through final inspection and final detail, about to ship. And this is a really, really exciting part, because even though we were very confident that we knew what our customers wanted, a lot of times when you're building a new product that has never been done before, there's always risk, you know? And we're so paranoid here that we just want everything to be so perfect, because the only thing we care about is when the customer gets a car, they're over the fucking moon about it. And if they're not, I'm not interested. And neither is our team, and we're just gonna keep going. By the way, we'll keep going either way, even if they do love it. But the point is that if they don't love it, we're not happy. And the customer feedback that we've gotten, I can proudly say, without compromises, without a but, without a, oh, I wish. And it's not that it will never get better and it can't get better, but we delivered on what we promised. A modern driving experience, no different than your super nice other $250,000 car. A fit and finish and quality and craftsmanship that will rival anything you have. That's a big claim, Joe. How can you say that? Surely Bentley, Lamborghini, Ferrari has better fit and finish. Well, a couple things you should know. Everything we do is hand-built. All handcrafted by our people in the US right here. And most of the companies that you'll compare to are automation. Not all of them, but most of them. Meaning they're on a big, assembly line with robotics and automation. Nothing wrong with that. Great for speed and efficiency, so they can build 50,000 of them or however many they build. But when you're building low volume all by hand, the craftsmanship, you can control that, in my opinion, way better. And plus, because of the way we do our audits, nothing's getting out of this building if it's not perfect. And what we also know is our customers give us feedback, and our customers own really nice cars, which if you don't build great quality, it's only a matter of time before it catches up with you, And so some of our top customers that own the nicest cars on the planet, Bugatti, Koenigsegg, the most expensive $1 million Ferraris and Porsches, they tell us, A, fit and finish, superb. 2, or B, they also tell us that it gets more attention, more likes, more hi, more, oh my God, it's so awesome. I mean, imagine you drive a Bugatti, and people like it, of course, right? Lots of teenage boys will take pictures of the car and, whatever. But when you drive one of these, I can tell you that the type of people that ask questions about it and just smile and love it, it'll blow your mind. That part I can guarantee. And by the way, you get that in an old car too. Here's the difference. You don't have to worry about the old car problems. By the way, I can't see the comments if you guys are making comments, but I did see one of them, which was, can you lower the price? Well, I'll give you 2 answers. 900 labor hours of the highest skilled, handcrafted, absolute art is very expensive. The cost of the parts alone, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it is big. When you take the highest quality, expensive materials that we buy, we didn't set the price on that, and then you add high quality, skilled labor, done right, massive R&D investment. We crash tested the thing and made it FMVSS compliant and constantly are obsessing over making it better. I'll tell you, it's going to cost a lot of money. So I'll make two commitments to you, or I'll tell you two things. Number one, don't ask how we can make it cheaper. Ask how you can make more money. I'm not saying that in a mean way. I grew up with nothing. If I had said, oh, well, that Ferrari needs to be cheaper, or that Lamborghini needs to be cheaper, I wouldn't be here right now. And so I didn't view the world that way. The way I view the world was, how do I get better? Clearly, other people are buying these cars. Guys, there are a lot of people that buy these cars from us. There's a huge demand. All of this right here is just some of the bills that we have in the queue. We can't build them fast enough. So you should ask yourself, how? How is it that there are all these people that are buying this car? Well, here's a clue. If they're doing it, you can probably do it too. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but I am telling you it can be done. However, don't be mad. Having said that, it is our goal. One day, we won't lower the price of this car because there's only so many economies of scale we're going to get out of this. But we will create another variant that'll be at a lower price point, but still super high quality, that will allow more people to enjoy our work. I don't know when that's going to come out, and I'm not telling you what the price is going to be, but I can tell you it's definitely on my mind, because what we're building here, we're not just like a custom car builder. We're building a luxury car brand. And it starts with this modern classic truck, and we'll just keep giving people what they wanted without the compromises. But as far as the price, yeah, we know it's expensive. That's why we go to such great lengths to make sure that our customers are over the moon about it. All right. Okay. So let's talk lastly about service, because I think this is a really big deal. You buy a car from us, and by the way, back when we were building restoration and restomod, we did the same thing. So this is just, again, tells you the origin and the DNA of the company. I don't care about money. I didn't start this company to make money. I did it out of passion. And because I knew the customer and I just treated them the way I wanted to be treated, which is at this price point, a lot of money. If anything comes up after delivery and it's not perfect, there's a problem, something comes up, every car manufacturer, no matter how nice or big or mature, has warranty. Here's how we handle our warranty, and we think this is how all cars of this price point should handle their warranty. Hint, hint. If anything pops up after delivery and we cannot handle it and resolve it remotely, we have our own full-time traveling certified technicians. They work for us full-time. We don't outsource it. You don't have to take it to some shop you don't know where they fix it and then you send us a receipt. I think that's ridiculous, honestly. And so what we do is we have our own people, full-time, on our staff. They know the vehicle inside and out. We have zero budget constraints for it. It's a blank check. We fly them to your home, in your driveway, really fast. Simple, right? Why can't Lamborghini, Ferrari, Aston Martin, McLaren do that? I think for 250, 300, 500 grand, you should get that, right? But that's not the case. Other car companies, again, I know because I've had 50 of them. You come to them, you have to bring the car to them, you have to wait to get on the schedule, you call a phone number or a service manager, they probably don't know you, they don't have a relationship with you, and then you're gonna wait, and then once they look at the car, they will tell you what they'll cover and what they won't. And that is not something we're gonna do unless you abused the car and just thrashed it into a lake or something really stupid, which no one's done. Don't be the first. We're gonna cover everything. Parts, labor, inside, outside, mechanical, cosmetical, our warranty, bumper to bumper, by Vintage. White glove, to your door, super fast. And we have metrics for everything. So you call us, we're gonna call you back super fast. And we can't handle it as quickly as we can. And that might be 1 business day, 2 business days, maybe 3. We're at your home. And when we leave, you will have spent $0 and you will not have to have gone anywhere. Because we feel, back to obligation, that if you spend that kind of money with us, then that's the least that we should do, right? I don't know, guys. This is just what I think. So I think it's, again, an outsider, didn't come from automotive, could have only done this. Restoration, nice looking, drives bad, no reliability, no safety features. Restomod, better than that, but not quite as good as a modern car vehicle, has no safety features, short wheelbase, and ultimately we believe that we have reverse engineered exactly what our customers wanted. Okay, so now you know the story, and it is Sunday here. Winnie, I can tell, is ready to get going, and I appreciate the you guys watching, and I appreciate the support, and I'm sorry if I couldn't get to your questions. We'll have to figure out how to do that differently, but this is going to be saved, multicast on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and during the week, we will give you more behind the scenes and continue to share with you the magic and the art that is happening in this building. And I just have to thank all the fans, because if you missed this part of the story earlier, we wouldn't exist, I think, if it wasn't for all of our fans and followers globally. And on Instagram and TikTok and social media, it really fuels a fire for us to do better, and we'll never stop making it better. To our clients, we appreciate you guys betting on us, because it's a big bet and we don't take it lightly. And appreciate all the feedback, because without you, we couldn't have built exactly what it is you wanted. And I have to give a shout out to my wife, who's basically put up with me disappearing off the face of the earth for the last 4 years, because that's what it took. And yeah, it's a journey. And I'll leave you with this too, is that if you aren't in a position to buy this car yet, it started with me as a kid, just wanting cars that I couldn't afford. And I never accepted that I would never have them. I just said, I can't afford it yet. And there's still things I want that I can't afford yet. Hence, I get up every day and I go after it. And I think that's what you should do too. And if this car motivates you to work your butt off and sell more homes, or do better at your job, or, get drafted and become a star athlete or whatever, I love that, because that's how I got here. And so anyway, all right, I hope you guys enjoyed. We will be back on tomorrow, walk you through our assembly line, show you some cool builds. If you want to buy one, shoot us a text or give us a call. We're on always. There's a website, vintagemodern.co, where you can view inventory, builds in progress. We have one left for guaranteed Christmas delivery. You want to customize one, surprise your wife, surprise your husband, surprise your family. One left before Christmas. They all sold very quickly, and we would be delighted to talk to you. No time's too late. We work 7 days a week, pretty much all the time. And yeah, it would be our honor and pleasure to build you the car of your dreams. Okay, guys, I'm going to flip this, and thank you.